What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Michael Perryman. I'm a photographer and videographer out of Atlanta, and today we're talking about the Sirui 35mm 1.4 Aurora and why I think if you use a full frame Sony camera, this is a must-have lens. Let's talk about it. Alright, so I want to be fully transparent. I actually won this lens in a contest on Instagram. Yes, that's actually true. I entered into a contest on Instagram, drew Sirui imaging, and actually won. And Sirui did indeed follow through and send me this 35mm 1.4. So obviously I'm extremely thankful. So as soon as I got the lens, I thought I gotta go out, put this lens to work, and get these guys a review. Alright, so reason number one, exceptional value. You can get this lens for $599. When you think about the fact that the Sony 35 1.4, which is a G Master lens of course, is $1599, yes, $1,000 more than this lens to do pretty much the exact same thing. Think about it, the same exact bells and whistles you're gonna get on that Sony G Master, you're getting for a fraction of the cost. You still have an aperture ring right there on the lens. We've got the ability to click or de-click the aperture right here. On this side right here, right in the center, you've got a custom button. You can set that to be whatever you want that to be, obviously. We also have an iris lock right here, so if you don't want to bump into your aperture ring right here and you want to lock it into a certain aperture, you can indeed. And lastly, we also have an autofocus manual focus toggle right there on the lens as well. So when you think about the fact that you're getting all the exact same features of the G Master for $599, it's a no-brainer. That is number one reason why I say for using a full frame Sony camera, this is a no-brainer right here. All right, number two, and this has nothing to do with the actual Sirui, this has something to do with the focal length, the 35mm. This is a classic focal length. If you do things like street photography, people love to use a 35 and or maybe an 85. If you do things like shoot music videos, 35 is like a staple when it comes to that. Even when it comes to film, you know, that's why it's called the 35mm film, because it is one of the most commonly used focal lengths. It's almost exactly what we expect to see if our eyes were looking back out at the world. 35 is just a great focal length when it comes to storytelling. If you're taking a photo or a video, it doesn't matter. You're able to focus in on your subject, but also it's just wide enough that we can tell where the subject is. Is the subject in the city? Is the subject in the subway? Where is he? What's the story about? It's not just this person, it's this person at this location. And 35 is just such an ideal focal length to tell that type of story. But it's not that wide so you're getting distortion on the sides, and it's not that wide where it's distorting the person's face. It's almost a perfect focal length that's like kind of wide, and if you're willing to get close, you can get great portraits. So whether you're doing photography or videography, whether you're taking portraits, shooting music videos, that 35mm focal length is just a staple, it's classic, it's iconic. I took this thing out on 2 shoots recently, and both of them, I brought the 35mm with me. And one of the reasons was the background on both of these shoots was extremely important. So the setup was perfect for us to get the image that we wanted for this particular photo shoot and or video shoot. We wanted it to look like a trap house in this location that we rented out, pretty much provided that ambiance. But it was important. I wanted to not only be able to get the artist, but I wanted to show the kitchen that the artist is in. So I knew the focal length would have to be just wide enough to show it, but also just close enough to still focus in and be able to isolate on the artist. And when you have a lens that goes down to 1.4, you're able to get blurry background. But you don't always want to blur out the background when you're using a 35, because like I said, sometimes you want to show the background if that's part of the story. But if you have a lens that lets you do both, go to 5.6, go to 4.0, show the entire background. I could also go down to 1.4 if I'm in a low light situation, or if I just really want to isolate the subject. And I'm doing all of that at a price on a full frame camera for $599. That you can't beat. In this other location, we were shooting for an album cover for one of my guys, and we were at a train station, so I wanted to be able to see that in the background. So 35 is a perfect focal length for that. But also we had some buildings in the background as well. So not only did I mix in some shots with 35 to really show the difference, I also mixed in an 85mm. And we know what an 85 does, it kind of compresses things, it brings those buildings in the background a lot closer to you. So if you're using a 35, a great combo is also to use an 85, because that's a killer combo and it provides 2 distinctively different looks. All right. Another thing that I really love about the Sirui 35mm 1.4 is it has a unique look. All lenses have some sort of look. Sigma looks a little bit different than Sony. Sony has that really clinical, sharp look, but if you're trying to, differentiate yourself from some of the other people out there creating content, you want to find a unique look, right? And the one thing that I really appreciate about this Sirui 35mm is it does give me what I think is a unique look. If I'm constantly putting out content, we know that's the unique look to Michael Perryman. When I see it, I know it, and this 35 can allow me to be really consistent with that unique look. So it does indeed have a unique look, and that's one of the reasons that I appreciate it. So once again, if you're using a full frame camera, E-mount, and you are into content creation, a 35mm focal length lens is an ideal lens to have if you're into prime. So like I said, I waited until I used this on multiple shoots, and I can tell you for $5.99, this is an absolute steal. The Sirui 35mm 1.4 Aurora. I also have the 85mm 1.4, and whenever I'm going out on content creation, urban architecture, street photography, those are the only two lenses I'm bringing when I'm bringing a full frame camera. So thank you for watching. Please like the video, hit subscribe if you want to. My name is Michael Perryman, and like I always say, don't wait, create. Let's get it.